You got more questions over there, or do you wanna go to me now? Do you me to give you
I've
one?
I've got a cats question if we want to talk cats.
Let's talk about the Cats. We got some Big Blue Nation in here as always. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the Kentucky Wildcats. Did we miss any super chats? I don't think we have since then. So leave them in there
Hope
if you
not.
want. Um, so, by the way, Ethan had a question earlier. We're going to bring that up if it somehow ties into Max's question here, which I think it will. So,
Okay.
by the way, before we get into that, quickly, Holly said, watch the KSR and the Lex 18 interviews with Modi and Denzel Aberdeen
Modi.
yesterday. Super excited to have both. So, there you have it. All right, what do you got on the Cats?
Okay. So the big question, the big burning question for the Cats, it's got to surround around the main man, the main transfer, Jaden Quayton's JQ. So my question to you, Blake, is not by the start of the season. Okay, we're not talking November, not talking December. I'm talking all the way into January. Okay. This is 2 months into the season. By the time SEC play starts, the real stuff starts. If JQ is healthy, he's 100% or he's close to it. He's well on his way. He's right there. Are the Cats the preseason number one SEC team?
Hmm. Um, could I have the record for the Florida Gators at that point? Could I please have an update on where the Gators are at that point in the season? I mean, it's a hard question to answer just because I am kind of half joking. Like it really would depend on okay, what has Florida done? What is what's Alabama, Arkansas, Auburn, Tennessee, all these teams we talked about? Like what have they done at that point to
Yep.
really know? And I think too, I think like we said, depending on when JQ is back, we will have a really good idea of what Kentucky looks like without him. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's like, okay, well, if Kentucky comes out and all of a sudden they're 14-1 heading into SEC play, and then this guy is like finally at 100%, well, it's going to be really hard to say no. That they may not be the favorite, no matter maybe what Florida has done to that point. Um, or the Gators could be undefeated, and we're sitting here talking about these two teams, the top two teams in the country, possibly. Remember the SEC last year. How many weeks did we go through and just say, well, there's four SEC teams in the top six or the top seven?
Yeah.
I'm thinking it's going to be something potentially similar to that with some of these top teams, and especially for Kentucky, if this guy's good to go. Let me ask you this, all right? I'm going to turn this back on you for a second.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
If he, at that point that you're talking about in the season, is 100% ready to go, what's your rotation for Kentucky?
It would be Jalen Lowe,
Mm-hmm.
Denzel Aberdeen with a mix in of that. See that two spot would be a little
You
mix in
got a
of
couple,
Jasper
yeah.
and cut maybe Chandler, little combo there. Otega Owe and Cam Williams running the wing, and then at the four you've got reigning SEC Bully Ball Player of the Year Mo Diabate with Yelovich in behind him, and then you would have Jaden Quaintance at center with Brandon Garrison and Malachi Moreno behind him.
Sean says Kentucky didn't get the memo. You can only play five. That's the thing, right? Like, I'm glad I asked you the rotation question because I don't. Man, that's a man.
Right? The reason I really bring this up is because I feel like we've really kind of broken down how Kentucky is going to look on offense. The one thing on defense that it's like, okay, well, how's the rim protection going to be and how's the rebounding going to be? Jaden Quaintance was one of the best shot blockers in the entire country. He was top 10 in the Big 12 in offensive rebounding. He was top 20 in the Big 12 in defensive rebounding. Those problems are all fixed if JQ's healthy. Name the hole in Kentucky's team offensively and defensively. Name the weakness. Name the Achilles heel. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. Bad time to say that. But name the weakness on this Kentucky team fully healthy.
I mean, they're too deep at every position, aren't they?
Every position.
Yeah. Look, you'd have a strong argument to make. There's no question that
Okay.
you could certainly
I just
say,
want to
all
know if
right.
I was getting there.
No, I mean you'd have a strong argument, and I think for most people right now, and this is where we're going to get to the bracketology here in just a minute, but I think clearly, like again, these are two of the with Florida and Kentucky, they're two of the top three in the SEC for I would say most people right now, and I don't know why they wouldn't be just based on the
Yeah.
rosters. Whoever that third team is, you could put them before one of the two or after one of the two, whatever, however combination. But like, I think they've got to be two of the top three, and so with Oweh's return, we said that was kind of one of the biggest dominoes to fall. If you have a JQ that you've looked at and said, all right, we've seen what this guy can be, if he's that guy again, and you're telling me you're going to pair him with Modi, in the front court, I'm looking at that and thinking, I don't know what you do if you're the opposition. Because, and again, that's adding in Garrison and all the other guys too we've talked about. So the depth is what, for me, if he's good to go, then you're talking about, okay, they have one more guy in the depth part of the rotation, but it's not just one guy. It's like it's an all SEC player at that point. I mean, you're talking about literally adding a potential first team all SEC guy if he is the kind of
Yes.
player that you think he can be. So they got a lot of dudes, though. I mean, I don't. This isn't going to work exactly the way we think it's going to. Never does.
It's not.
But
Nope.
who's going to be the odd man out? You're going to have injuries. That just happens throughout the course of a season. So hard to know. I mean, it's hard to answer that with any certainty, but I think clearly they're going to be in the argument for that, being your potential favorite.
They are going to be able to weaponize this depth similar to how Auburn did last year, where you're playing them at home and you're maybe a short rotation team and you get one or two guys in foul trouble, and over the course of 40 minutes, you just get wave after wave after wave just thrown at you and you just break you down. They're just going to absolutely break you down.
And remember, too, you've said this, and we did it, and I don't know, maybe in the deep dive we did for the SEC mailbag or the SEC members. So if you want to join the tier, we did a 30-minute deep dive on Kentucky probably a month or so ago. But remember, you talk about like wearing you down. Like this, the team is going to get the free throw line a lot more because they may not shoot it as well. Which is like, we're not saying they're going to be a bad shooting team, but they're a top 25 shooting team last year. Maybe it's a little different there. So they're going to be attack mode 40 minutes a game, and we've seen what that can do. Like, if you're playing in a physical league like the SEC, you're just talking about guys just coming at you on every possession. Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt about it. I mean, I already have them, like I mentioned. We'll do we might make next week our power rankings.
I like that.
Tiers. We may do our early power rankings tiers next week for the public. That may be what we're going to aim for. But look, Kentucky's going to be right up there for me. So, so with that question, I would keep them right up there, no doubt.
And the last thing I want to add into this topic before we move on is earlier in the live, I was talking about, year 2 Chaney Johnson. Just think about that year 2, how much that full off season, the full year in the SEC, getting the entire taste of it, seeing what you need to work on, and then coming back even stronger in year 2. Think of that for all these guys that are coming back. Brandon Garrison, Colin Chandler, Noah. These guys played massive minutes last year. Now in that year 2, they're all going to be significantly better. And that's just kind of like, oh yeah, they kind of just like not talked about. Add that into the equation as well.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that they would maybe be the co-favorite with Florida, depending on where the Gators were at that point, but they're right there. I mean, look, if you even look at like the national title odds, right? I mean, Florida's plus 1,600, as we said. Kentucky's plus 1,800. So, I mean, right now, there's not much separating these two teams.
Yeah, exactly.
So,